everyone, to another Games Talk Live podcast. We are here today. We might have one more later. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him right now, but he said he was going to make it, but don't know. Anyways, we've got the wonderful and awesomely talented Colt Eastwood here with us today. Colt, thank you for joining us, and welcome to another GTL. This is probably like your 100th episode with me. No, it's not.
Maybe, yeah. Thank you for calling me talented, Fonz. That was really super nice. I was just playing some guitar, and when I play the guitar, sometimes I'm like, I'm not talented.
Yeah,
but it's good to be here.
Guitar, you do. No, I'm just kidding. You sound great. I've heard it many times during party chats and stuff. He's like playing like Johnny Be Good or something. I don't know what you're playing over.
Oh gosh, Johnny Be Good.
Oh man,
yeah, it's good to be here.
I was just picturing Michael J. Fox in my head playing it. Yeah. Anyways, we've also got the awesomely bearded Hargeet Chani with us as usual.
Welcome, how's it going, Fonz?
I've
been playing some AC Shadows. You've been playing a little bit of Borderlands, apparently, right?
Oh, dude. Colt, we've been having a time with Borderlands 3 Ultimate, right?
Yeah. It's weird because Borderlands 3 is not my favorite one, but I don't know what itch got to me, but we've been playing it and I'm really like having fun again in that game. I'm excited for 4 now. I kind of wasn't because I've like 1,000 hours in the series. So
I've never been a big fan of Borderlands. I tried it once. Okay. I got like that Handsome Jack collection, started with 1, started to play it, and I couldn't get into it. And sadly, it was because it was because I was playing by myself. I didn't play with anybody else. And I think the joy lies in co-op play with this game.
Yeah.
I think that's where it lies. And I'm having a blast with you. Played with Zocker today a little bit. So that was kind of fun. We got a 4th opened up. Hargeet. No. Hargeet's like, I'm not playing that trash. No. Hargeet, so AC Shadows, you're still playing it. How is it going for you?
I mean, I'm going through, like, I have not gotten a lot in the story. I usually like to go explore the world, so I'm already like level 28 or 29, and I have barely done the story. I've opened up a lot of I think I've already gotten to every region, and I'm now going through every castle to just clear it out. So I just want to have like every marker on there all done, and then I'll continue the story. That's kind of my usual
way too many.
Through. Yeah, but whatever. I've probably got like 60% done. So, but yeah, I'll just go through, and I like, there were ones that were just like level 35 that I just couldn't hit, right? So I'm like getting to the point where I can now like do those. There's one that was like level 41 or something like that. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing there. It's I think I'm probably like 40-ish hours in or something like that. Something along those lines, 30, 40 hours. I did find that I got Ubisoft Plus, and I found that Ubisoft Connect isn't as good. I bought it on Steam just to see what the differences are, and actually, the Steam one's still better. Even though it's a Ubisoft game, it still runs a little bit better. It's faster to load. It runs HDR better. I don't know, just it seems to just work better on Steam, even though it's a PC game running on the same freaking thing but just the launcher. Like, go figure, right? So, but yeah, whatever. It's seamless though. The beauty is the progression is seamless. You can go back and forth, no issues.
How are you enjoying the game though? Like, is it? And my level is really low. Holy crap! What is going on here? I don't know why.
Your audio level is a little low, but yeah, I mean, it's good enough. It's Assassin's Creed. I haven't seen most of the story, so like we'll see how that goes. It's the usual, like you have little side missions here and there that come up, and you like go kill somebody or get some item for somebody or whatever, the usual stuff. A lot of sync points. Right, and then they have these other little things that are going on, that like these little weird anomaly keys that you get, and I don't even know what those do yet. And there's some other anomaly thing you can do to clear out anomalies. I don't know. I haven't really played too much with that, but there's these weird things going on there. It seems like you're directly tied to the Assassin's Creed specifically, which is kind of cool. And then I assume the other side is Templars, but I have no idea yet. But we'll see. But yeah, so far so good. The stealth capabilities are pretty good, especially when you upgrade a lot. It gets pretty good. You get one. I don't even know what it's called, but basically it's a ball and chain. That thing is awesome. You just like you go in the middle of a whole bunch of enemies and just keep rolling that thing around. They barely can do
that
anything
is a
to you.
fun weapon. Yeah, it's got the hook on one
It's a
end.
pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I think I turned myself up a bit. I'm still low. I don't know why. Weird. I don't even mess with these settings at all. I don't know. Colt, say something.
Yo, one thing you can do to check
you're
your
really
audio
low.
is I check where my I use my program to use to record voiceovers. I make sure that hasn't overwrote. I don't know what the words are. It will override your audio settings if you don't double check it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's more than likely I mean, you're using Discord, so there's some other program that might have overwritten what your audio level is, but I'm sure it's close.
It's crazy, but yeah, I've turned myself up. I don't know what to do. I don't know. We're gonna deal with it as best we can here. So yeah. Anyways, I've been playing some Borderlands, like we were saying earlier. Also, PoE 2 came out with an update. I started on that. It's kind of polarizing in the community right now. Some people love it, some people hate it, and it's because it's gotten a lot harder. It's basically broken or destroyed everybody's broken builds out there. Everybody that was destroying bosses in one hit and everything, that ain't happening no more. A lot of people are having problems with the Act 2 boss. There's 3 acts in the game, and Act 2, that boss is destroying people. So I haven't gotten there yet myself, but when I do, I will let everybody know how it is, because well, my friends anyway, they hear me every day talk about these games and stuff that I play, because I actually do play some. Contrary to what a lot of people believe, Fonz does like some games. It's rare, but I do. Anyways, Face 23 BKNY, thank you for the $1.99. He says AC Shadows is better than Valhalla. Maybe for some.
That's a
For me,
toughie.
it's not.
That's a toughie.
It's definitely not for me.
I have not played the DLC for Valhalla, and I think Colt, you said that was good, but I have to agree so far. I hated the
DLC shouldn't
for
count. Like DLC's extra, but launch
Yeah,
to
I
launch,
did not
it's a
like
toughie.
Valhalla.
Sith Lord,
Yeah.
member for 17 months. Thank you very much, brother. He says, my man Colt, Switch 2, day 1. Let's go. Take my money. So he says take his money. And with that, let's go ahead and get into Switch 2 news. Of course, we have the new Switch 2 that was revealed. Hargeet, do you have any info on the Switch readily available? I know it's like a 7.9-inch screen, right? Just an LCD. Vivid. They call it a vivid LCD screen, like it's supposed to take the place of an OLED now or something. But anyways,
It's HDR, right? So
what else we got
it
going
does.
on with it?
It's 1080p 120, which is pretty good. If you dock it, you get 4K 60. It's HDMI 2.0. It's not going to have 4K 120, but that doesn't matter. So it's also supposed to be 10 times more powerful in graphical performance, whatever that really means, right? But we're starting to see some comparisons, and it's sort of better than the Series S because it has DLSS. So that's reasonable. That's not bad, right? But again, let's wait till it comes out. We'll get like actual, full-on comparisons and metrics. But not bad. For what it's doing, I think it's a pretty decent device in power and at price, like $450 with a dock. That's pretty good compared to its equivalents. So yeah, it's a reasonable device. It looks pretty cool. It's pushing them back into sort of the like third parties can be here thing. It's probably going to be less than a PS5 and Series X in performance by somewhat. It depends on what FSR does, right? So we'll see how that goes. But right now it can be a pretty competitive, third console in the current gen. It's viable enough to have all the games that have been kind of skipping it. And then, and we're just talking hardware. The hardware itself now finally offers, chat support. Yay! It's caught up to like 2002.
Is it free? Is chat support free?
No. So, well, I mean, I don't know if you can do some like sort of Discord thing for free, but the one that's built into theirs is part of their online service, which admittedly is very, very cheap. But, whatever. It's like $20 a year.
It
or
is?
something like that. Yeah, it's like $20 a year or some ridiculously low amount. So
Okay.
it's
right.
like,
Oh,
okay,
well,
whatever.
Oh, that's loud for me, but
really loud. No, it's really loud. Oh man.
just
Okay.
bring it down 20 points or something.
Okay. Let me get back in there.
Of course, there was one big controversy, if we want to get into that controversy, which was the price of Mario Kart.
All right. Okay. So I think this is better. This is better now. I think it is. All right. I think it is.
Sounds better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, OBS should be able to tell you if
Yeah.
the levels are good.
It's not peaking, or it's actually getting up there now. So finally, yeah. So Hargy,
Just FYI, what I'm seeing on the screen, hopefully is fixed.
Yeah, I'm
now.
still seeing
No,
your
it's
settings.
yeah, it's still showing OBS stuff. It's not showing.
oh,
our
there we
videos.
go. Dang it. Sorry about
Or
that.
that- yeah,
guys.
it's
I think
Discord,
I
but
got it. Yeah, I got it now. It's fixed. Thank goodness.
Okay.
Holy moly. So yeah. First of all, no OLED screen though, Hargeet. How are you feeling about that?
Well, that's going to be the mid-gen refresh for them. Is going to be the OLED screen, right? That's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. Is that going to kill it? No. Is it ROG LIX? Is that an OLED? I think, and it's like $900. Do you want to pay more? I mean, that's the thing. It is what it is. It's already $450. They'll come up with one later. It'll be there, I'm sure. Like 3 years from now. And like suckers, everybody will buy it again.
Facts. That's happening. We know it. Colt. So as far as the Switch 2 itself, we're talking about the console itself. First of all, are you planning on getting one, or is your kids, anybody in the household? No.
My kids. I have 3 Switches in the house. Each of them have one. No, they probably won't get one. They played the heck out of the Switch when COVID hit, and they were playing Animal Crossing and having a blast, but they don't really use it. My kids mostly just play on PC.
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah, they're not going to get one. So I don't know. It is a little bit iffy when the discussion comes around Nintendo, because I don't mind if people are super excited about a product that I'm not going to buy, but there's just nothing that tells me I should ever eventually get a Nintendo Switch 2. So I'm just kind of staying out of it. But some of the price hike stuff and setting precedence as the market leader, which Nintendo is now, that's a little bit concerning as part of the discussion we're going to get into today. Them with $80 games, Nintendo themselves telling the world that $90 is the physical version, and sending out all kinds of mixed messages, and having journalists and content creators and everyone else like try and you give the real answer what's going on with the pricing. It's all a really big mess. We should talk quite a bit. We should start off by talking about how this reveal for Nintendo Switch 2 is not too far akin from the reveal of the Wii U. I feel like it's kind of just happened. This reveal for the consoles happened, and people are like, okay. I mean, I know people really, really want one, and maybe they weren't the same with the Wii U, but my concern before this reveal was, how excited can you get about a Switch when there's like, it's bigger and it's more better, and it's more, and it's more Mario Kart stuff, and it's more, all that. And I'm like, I'm not trying to take away from that, because I know people are going to be excited about playing Mario Kart World, but where was the, oh my gosh, I have to have this? It's the greatest hits thing. I sound like I'm hating on it. It's hard for me to say because I don't want one. But me looking on the outside, there's been a lot more complaints. Here, I'll say this last thing, then I'll shut up. There's been a camp that's complaining, and then there's been the camp that is blindly bootlicking some of the problems. And
Oh,
I
for
haven't
sure.
really seen I'm just excited about what's going on. So me looking from the outside, I sort of see it split.
Yeah. No, I see that too. The console price itself being $449.99 as of the other day. Who knows what it is now that they've kind of just delayed the launch or the pre-orders, not the launch. They delayed the pre-orders because of the tariffs that were put into place. Funny how this was announced the day before the tariffs, right? I just don't know if that's, one of their ways to look like good guy Nintendo. Hey, we were going to sell it at $450, but because of those darn tariffs, you guys will pay $499. And maybe $499 was the price all along that they wanted to sell it for. Who knows? But my question to you, Hargeet, is why in the hell do they get a Japanese version over there for more than $100 cheaper? That tells me that they can sell this thing for $100 cheaper.
Yeah, it is an oddity, right? That somehow in Japan, everybody sells their stuff cheaper. Series consoles are cheaper. PlayStations are cheaper. They are locked to the region. I don't know why that matters. They do have an unlocked version that is actually a little bit more expensive in Japan. But outside of that, it seems very odd that just seems to be the case. Like, you can look up series console, you can look up Game Pass, and it's so unbelievably cheap over there. But that's the way it is, I guess, in Japan. For some reason, everything is cheaper. And they have a higher standard of living, so they actually make more money. And you're like, why is it that they get that? And like the rest of the world has, like, it's so much more expensive in parts of the world where they make less money, right? And you're like, why is that? That just seems kind of counterintuitive, right? But that's how it is, I guess. So I don't get that one at all. As far as the price, look, to me, that's just politics, because they've already built up like 20 million, according to what we've heard, out in the world. If they already had that many consoles and they haven't already shipped a bunch into the US, that's their stupidity. They should have done that already, because they knew this was coming last year. It was told to them, this is coming.
Yeah.
So there was no excuse. They should have had those in warehouses in the US already, if they don't already have them in warehouses in the US. So I don't know what the hell they're posturing about. Whatever. That's their stupidity. We'll let them deal with it, I guess. But yeah, that price point for the console itself at $450 just doesn't seem that bad to me. Like Colt, you were saying like, okay, it's kind of okay for performance, whatever, and it's like, is this really gonna move the needle? Because you have other things out there. If I look at the other, portables, they're really not doing as much as this is. And those portables, though they have all the games because they're PC games, right? They're PC portables. They aren't nearly as easy to use, right? Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It's just not. The Steam Deck is probably the best. And that has some limitations in it. It has most of the Steam games, but not all of them. But it's pretty good. It's a pretty good device. But power-wise, it's substantially less than what this is doing. And it's about the same price. It's $400 without a dock. So it does compete pretty well, hardware-wise, I think. The games-wise, I think we were looking for that marquee thing. They thought that that Mario Kart would be that marquee thing. To be fair, it's one of their best-selling games of all time. So yeah, I guess they can think that way. But realistically, I think we were looking for that, marquee Mario or Zelda game.
Well, wouldn't Metroid Prime 4 be that marquee game? That's what I look at.
It's never been that big.
Really?
It's never been that big. Yeah, Metroid has barely sold at all. It would have to be one of those big Mario or
It's funny
Zelda
that
games.
you say that, because that's one of the games that I look forward to on the Switch 2 is Metroid Prime 4.
Will be good. Yeah,
because I've always been a Metroid fan, but yeah, it's not even that game that people are hyped for.
I think that's the big disappointment. Look, that's coming. Obviously, it's going to be coming at some point. We also know Call of Duty is coming, right? We haven't even seen that yet. So there will be more shows that show us more games that are coming. But look, they had Blood, whatever. What was it called?
Duskblood from Software.
Yeah, and that is an exclusive to Switch too. So that's a pretty crazy announce. Graphically it does pretty well. It's not bad. We will see what it does overall, right? We will see what it's like when we actually get it. Is it going to be the same as a 4090? No. Is it going to be the same as even a 3080? No. Is it going to be the same as a Series X? No. But it's going to be decent enough. And
you know what it reminds me of with the graphics?
It's good.
It reminds me of early last generation graphics. That's what it reminds me of. I'm talking 2013, 2014. That's what it looks like.
For some of it, sure.
I don't know. When I look at Metroid Prime 4,
I think of earlier than that.
When I look at Metroid Prime 4, I think, and it's not a bad thing to have simplified graphics. Like South of Midnight is simplified graphics, is gorgeous, and Metroid looks pretty nice. But when I look at Metroid Prime 4, it looks like Halo 3.
No, I hear you on that.
Not a joke.
I'm talking about when I look at Duskblood, it reminds me of early last gen.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of looks like Elden Ring to me. It
doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as good, though.
Which is coming to the platform, right? And that's the thing, right? So we'll wait till we get those. There's some comparisons of Street Fighter 6, for instance, that show Street Fighter 6 looks a lot better on the Switch 2 than it does on the Series S.
Really?
So, now that just could be optimizations, but yeah, no, it substantially looks better than. And again, this is DLSS.
And of course, we're getting a 1080p, right? 120-inch screen, so they will have some 120 hertz games. Now, the thing is, these a Nintendo, when they usually put a feature in like that, they usually use it. That's something that they don't mess around with. They don't usually put stuff in there just willy-nilly. Oh, we got this feature just to tout it. They usually try to push that when they do. Now,
Metroid, I think, is going to use that, right? Metroid's going to be 120.
The one thing I question, though, is the 4K dock. Now, it's nice that that's in the box, because if you look at the Steam Deck's their dock is $80 by itself, and you have to pay for that outside of the Steam Deck. It doesn't come with it. So the price for me is fine for the Switch 2 itself, but that dock, once you put it in there, does it just upscale to 4K, kind of a simulated 4K, or is it like, does it really help push these games to 4K? Like, what are we doing here? Is it using DLSS? The dock itself
is not going to do anything. It's just like the Switch 1. Well, no. So what happens is the Switch 1 has the same thing where it has two modes to the APU.
Okay.
Where one is low power mode, where it's going to run in undocked mode, and then there's a high power mode where it unlocks all the power, right? The capabilities. So you just get more oomph. So when you make a game for the Switch, you have two SKUs you have to write to: the low power and the normal mode. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. You're going to have a low power mode where you're portable, and that'll be more of the 1080 whatever level you can get.
But in theory, you can plug it up with the USB and play it in portable mode, connected to a power source, and get that high power mode.
As long as, you can get a higher power mode, but I don't know what it's going to do, right? Because if it's on the same screen, it may say, I'm not going to bother because I can't render 4K.
Got you.
There's no
Got
point,
you.
Right.
Got
so
you.
It's going to still do the 1080 mode. But if you hook it up to a USB dock, right, that gives it power and gives it like HDMI out, it may very well run in that mode.
But I'm wondering,
right?
will we see like the AI feature sets and stuff like DLSS being used in undocked mode?
They already are.
In undocked mode as well?
6,
okay.
In Street Fighter 6, I think it is using in both, I think, but at least in the one we saw, that was definitely with DLSS. They have RT cores, they have tensor cores, so they have all that stuff available to them. So it is a pretty substantial machine. Look, we don't have the full specs, right? We just have what they're kind of giving us as descriptors, right? And this is coming from NVIDIA, coming from Nintendo. So this is the stuff we understand. We will get full, specs when the thing comes out, right? And then we'll finally know what the hell it really is, right? So right now it's all kind of paper. On paper, it does this, and we had a little bit from the presentation they had after the Direct. There was a tree house or something, so whatever they call it.
The tree house,
where they went, where they had a whole bunch more of the gameplay and whatnot. And there've been some people who have actually had hands-on with it. So overall, it's kind of like the Switch. I just upgraded in many ways. It wasn't going to be a substantial change. The gimmick this time is probably the camera and the mouse. I think that's really the two big things that you can take your Joy-Con.
How much of a gimmick do you think the mouse is? Because, in theory, that would work really well. that would work really well because like the mouse for precision on shooting games and stuff, FPS,
Exactly.
it works
So if
really
you wanted to
nice.
have that, you could have joystick on one side and mouse on the other, and you basically kind of have a keyboard mouse equivalent, right? But if they can get the button mappings
You
right or
know,
whatever, right?
you know
That
what
might
I'm
be very
surprised they
cool.
didn't do to kind of nickel and dime you some more? I'm surprised they didn't come out with some sort of ergonomically correct little plastic thing to put over the Joy-Con when you're using it as a mouse, because that
You know, a
thing
third party's
does
already
not
looking at
feel
that,
as
right?
good. Yeah, I'm
You know, a
sure they
third party's
will.
going to do that.
Yeah. Maybe
So,
Nintendo will have a
but yeah.
cardboard version. They'll have the Labo come back, and they'll have cardboard, so your sweaty hands can just destroy it as you play. It's interesting that they
Yeah,
did that, by the way.
overall, not bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's funny. The
And
game,
what we're hearing from people who have actually used it, it does in fact work like a mouse. It's 1-to-1 the equivalent of a mouse. It's very precise, very immediate, so it works just like a mouse.
but the funny part
So
is the game that shows you the demos, all the new features of this machine doesn't come with a console. You have to pay for it.
oh, that one was also annoying. Yeah, there's
So
a Switch. What do they call it? Tour. Switch
Tour.
Tour, something like that. Switch Tour, yeah, Switch Tour, and you have to buy it. And I don't know how much it costs, by the way, but still, that just seems absolutely ridiculous. You should just bundle that in. It's the obvious thing to do, right? So that you have something to tell you what the capabilities are. They want you to pay for that. That is really ridiculous.
That's worse than
But
Sony. Sony did it with Astrobot and packed it in the
at least
PS5.
at least they give it to you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're. I mean, they've always been like this. Nintendo is. They charge you for every little thing they can, but up to now they've been kind of included. They had like Wii Sports included, but I guess with Switch they didn't really do that, right? So I don't know. This is just kind of the way they've been. It's a disappointing thing, but they want you to pay for everything.
So when
This
we
is
first,
when you start to appreciate how good Xbox is, how much stuff they do for us, right? PlayStation's in the middle, but my goodness, just how much better are they? All the upgrades, you have to pay for the upgrades, right? Like that's really annoying. Now both PlayStation and Nintendo did that. Fair enough, fine, but Xbox didn't do that. And on PC, normally all the PC games, you just get everything, unless it's a PlayStation game, of course. 'Cause
yeah,
then they charge you for upgrades.
the whole upgrade thing is just like the PlayStation did with the cross-gen games. You got to pay an extra 10 to get the upgraded features, which we already know that it's there. Hargeet, you can play Tears of the Kingdom at 4K, 120 frames on the PC right now. Why do you have to pay $10 to play it at that fidelity on the Switch too?
Ugh,
It's all
just because they can. That's it.
yeah. These companies just try to. It's greed. It's nothing more than
Yeah,
greed.
it is greed.
When it comes to the games, though, when we first saw like the articles talking about the game prices, we saw the $90 physicals, and as Colt touched on, that was wrong. And Hargeet, you were the first one to tell me, say, hey, look at the prices at Best Buy, Target. It's all $80 for these physical games. And I'm thinking to myself, so where did that $90 come from? Did we find out that? Because I don't know where it came from.
I think it's in euros. In Europe, it is 90 for physicals, but that's
Holy
normal.
crap.
In Europe, everything is expensive. It's more expensive over there. That's just the way it is, right? They have value-added taxes on everything. So you pay more. It's just unfortunate, but it is what it is. You pay more.
But here's my problem with
That's
that.
not
If
the
it is
equivalent of euro.
euros, like people are trying to say, then why is there a $10 difference between the digital version in Europe, but not here in America?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, because I haven't seen any verification of that, but this is coming from insiders, right? It was Insider Gaming, I think, that put that out first. So if they have sources, that's awesome. Again, I don't know anything about digital costs yet because I haven't seen them. Right.
Okay,
so
but here's the other thing too. Here's the other part of this, because there's a lot to unpack here. Colt, I want to get you in on this one because, Colt, as you know, I've told you, I've looked it up. Mario Kart World is not even on the cartridge. You still have to download it.
Yeah. I mean, that's not uncommon. Dual layer DVD or Blu-rays.
But it's
Some games
but it is
there.
uncommon that it's $90 in Europe for the physical version that you're downloading anyway.
I mean, is that what it says? It's
the case.
90 euros for the physical and 80 euros for the digital.
That's what some people say. I don't know. We have no concrete evidence here.
Yeah, now it's like a misinformation versus I think I know what the real truth is. Nintendo themselves said $90 in on their website, on their press release, whatever it was. I've said it a couple times and I get attacked for it, for saying 90 as misinformation, but I can't see 90 being the real price, but I think it's hilarious. And I said this in my Gaming Weekly news video on Friday. This is the thing that pisses me off about Nintendo is they believe they're worth it and so that they can set the price. We are in Gen 9 with PC and console. We're in Gen 9. In 2021, they upped the price from $60 to $70 for games. That's now the market target. That's the MSRP for games at retail is to be $70 US or equivalent in your country. Now, Nintendo just decided in June they're coming into Gen 9 5 years later, and they're like, oh yeah, we're not making the jump from 60 to 70. We're going straight up to 80. Probably because they know that they're going to be in Gen 9 for the next 7 or 8 years while we all move to Gen. Even PC follows the generation differences where consoles move their different changes in their price structure. So Nintendo just decided, oh, we're 5 years late to the party and we're not going to jump up to $70 games. We're going to jump up to $80 games in the US. And I think that's bull crap. And then all these complaints about charging to use party chat, jacking the price of your console up $450 in the US, and jacking up the price of your game an additional $10 midway through the generation when just 4 or 5 years ago we got a price hike, and people are defending the corporation instead of thinking as a consumer. And they try to put this blame on people like you or me or anyone else who's like a diehard Xbox or PlayStation fanboy, when we all stood up and said, you're not going to hike the price of Game Pass. You're not going to lock away your exclusives. Like there was talk a couple of years or last year that Xbox would take all of their first party games and remove them from Game Pass. Like that was that wasn't just that was something I think that was really being discussed by Xbox leadership and Microsoft, is to take every game, South of Midnight, Avowed, Doom the Dark Ages, those would no longer be in Game Pass. That to save money, they just say, oh, we're just going to give you those games down the road and completely reverse what we said we were going to do. And then when they tried to double the price of Xbox Live in 2021, we all stood up. I stood up several tweets and said, reverse this, you idiots. And they listened. But Nintendo fans are like, we're worth it. Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 9, Mario Kart. Like, well, it's great. Those games are great. But you need to stand up as a consumer. Stop worrying about Nintendo. They're doing amazing. They don't need your extra money. And this stuff bothers me.
It's true.
Because this, and I said in my video, what does this mean for you if you're on PC or PlayStation, Xbox? It means a lot. It means the biggest platform publishers right now, being 2K, PlayStation, and Nintendo, are saying this is the price of gaming, and everyone is going to follow suit.
Yeah, 100%. And that's my clear worry about the whole situation. It's not even a worry; it's going to happen.
I just want to point out it's one game that's $80, but I'm not defending it. I think it's still shit. I don't think that's a good thing. It shouldn't. But I understand why they're doing it, because they can get away with it. It's their top-selling game. That's literally it. It's greed. It's greed.
The same thing.
I don't see any other reason. It's greed.
It's the same thing that Zelnick's kicking around for GTA 6, right? They know they can sell their game for $100, and they might do that. I still am kind of hesitant to think that they'll do $100 for GTA 6. Me and Colt have been kicking around ideas. Colt, what was the idea you were saying about the $80 and $90 possibly? Or
I believe that Rockstar is going to say something like, we wanted to separate the single player and the online. So for the people who just want to play online and not worry about the single player, we want to separate that, but we've decided to bundle it into one game. And so starting in November, when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, it's going to be a $100 bundle, which gives you the first single player game and the online game included, and maybe like a few extra credits for your online character. And then people will say, well, where's the one if I just want to play online, or if I only want to play the single player? And they're like, oh, we're not doing that. We decided to bundle it all together. it's kind of a weird communication, but I'm not fully convinced that Rockstar is going to sell Grand Theft Auto 6 for $100 just because they can. I really don't think that's how it works. Like, there's a market target for games and products. And I know PlayStation said, hey, the PS5 Pro is $300 more or $200 more than it should be. I just don't think that Rockstar is going to say we're worth it $100. And I also don't think they're going to react to Nintendo saying $80 is the new price. And then Rockstar's going to sit back and go, $80? Huh? Well, they did it first, so we're good. And then starting at the end of 2025, the new standard for games is $80. I hope not, but Nintendo has that pull and they have that leverage right now.
Well, I mean, their general games are still 70, so it's not going to be a standard, right? But that's
which ones are 80, Hargeet?
So there's one that's 80 on its own. That's Mario Kart. Then there's the Kirby game with its DLC. So that one's 80 because it has the DLC.
That's a bundled game.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then they have the Jamboree, the Mario Party Jamboree, but that also has DLC. It's TV something. Jamboree.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, bundled
so
like ultimate editions can be more. Ubisoft sells packaged games for $100 or early
Xbox
access.
Everybody does that. PlayStation, everybody does that, right?
Of course.
DLC, fair enough. It's fair. And then you get the Zeldas, and so Tears of the Kingdom, which came out at $70, with the upgrade of $10 makes it $80. So they're just selling it to you for $80 if you want it with the upgrade.
Wait. What did you say? Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah,
it came out at $70 on Switch, right? It was a $70 Switch game. It was the one that was a deviation from the $60.
What year did it come out?
2020.
Last year, 2 years ago.
23.
It's
2023, and they're selling that game still for $70.
Oh yeah,
with a $10 upgrade.
And they're going to sell it for $80.
They don't ever change their their prices, right? That's their
that
MO.
is.
They don't. May 12, 2023 is when it came out. But anyway, so that's the other $80.
Biggest garlic. Grand Theft Auto 5 shipped with online the day and date, but the online servers were not turned on for 2 weeks. True. They purposely waited so that people would play the campaign. It came with online. You just couldn't start playing it till 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Not a year, not a half a year later. It was 2 weeks.
They did split it out later. Because you can buy just the online now, right? So
yeah, like sometime in like 2021 or something, or some year like that.
They split it out later.
They sold it separately, and I think they tried to do the same thing with Red Dead 2.
Yeah,
But so those are the ones that I'm aware of so far, and then of course they still, for Breath of the Wild, that was a $60 game, and they're adding the $10, making it $70.
What a bunch of morons!
So
that game is like 9 years old or something.
They will not reduce. It's just who they are.
I mean, let's just call a spade a spade.
Hold on a second. Xbox put Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon 4, and Gears 5, a free next-gen upgrade for Gen 9 for Series X and Series S. PlayStation put Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone, and God of War free 60 frames update, higher resolution update for the PS5. Nintendo's like, oh yeah, that game 9 years ago, full price when it launched, and a $10 upgrade. F Nintendo, they suck, bro. They suck so bad. And people are gonna sit back and go, well, I mean, they deserve it. Their games are so amazing. They're all the same.
Agree. It's cheesy.
They don't deserve it. But their arguments for their games
anyway.
being great.
Yeah, they'll get it anyway because Nintendo guys are pay pigs.
But yeah,
console guys are pay pigs.
It sucks.
Console in general. Yeah,
it's pretty bad. But this is the way it is, right? Paywalling chat, but then paywalling cloud saves. Paywalling cloud saves.
Oh.
Paywalling cloud saves. That's another thing that both PlayStation and Nintendo do.
Joe Money, there's no way Colin already said that. There's no way.
Did Colin say if you can spend 70, you can spend 80? If you can spend 80,
he said,
then
quote,
you can spend 100.
Colin already said, quote, if you can afford 70, you can afford 80.
Anybody who says that, they're speaking like a true cuck. That's just the bottom line.
I mean, look.
Stop worrying about the corporation. Worry like you're the consumer. You're playing these games. You're spending the money.
Okay,
What's
put
that?
it in perspective. Break it down, Hargeet.
Nintendo, okay? Here's their annual revenue for last year. It was like 11.5-ish billion, okay? Of that, 6 point something was pure profit. Pure profit.
6
They're
billion
not
out of
hurt-
11.
6 point something, 6 point like 7, 8, something like that.
Jeez.
Something ridiculous. Okay? So if you if you think that they're in any financial issue, you're way wrong. These guys are running away with money from all your pockets. There's no
Right.
reason for them to do it. So, but that's what they're doing, okay? And if you want to keep paying them, that's fine. And unfortunately, you know what's going to happen, right? It's going to work because
It's
people
going to
are
work.
buy-
Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah.
you want evidence of that? They already had the pre-order start. I want to say it was in the UK. Minutes, gone, sold out, gone. Minutes, sold out.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it is going to sell. Period. It is going to sell.
Yes.
They're going to have the biggest launch in console history, and it's
I'm with
going
you.
to sell like hotcakes.
I think
And
so
people
too.
will buy that $80 game, whether you like it or not. I think it sucks that they're setting a trend because I guarantee you, the next major Zelda game, $80. The next major Mario game, $80. They're gonna do it. If they're gonna do it for Mario Kart, I know they're gonna do it
And
for
if-
Mario, like the 3D Mario game.
And Hargeet,
Zelda
if
game.
they
It's
can
gonna
get
happen.
away with it, if they could get away
The
with it, and
GTA
2K
It's
can
just
get
gotten
away
their
with
door
it,
open.
then PlayStation is going to get away with it. That's just
Yep.
how it's going to be. It's
You
all
can- you
these
can just-
publishers
yes,
are going to start to
Intergalactic.
do it.
They're gonna say, why not? Intergalactic is a very expensive game, and we think it's got that quadruple A, and therefore it should be $80. You know they're gonna say that, right? And like, why wouldn't they be saying that?
Let me get
know
to this
people will
before
still
this
buy it.
leaves my screen completely. Face 23 BKNY with a 1999 says, Game Pass is the best deal in gaming until they raise prices again.
Well, if games are $100 and if they raise the price by a little bit, it's like, okay. I'd
Or
still
80
rather pay
bucks,
that
even
$100.
$80. Even $80 games is going to start pushing
Ridiculous.
Yeah, of
Because
course
the-
it's going to be raised.
because
if games
Microsoft
go
and
up.
the Xbox Corporation doesn't care. They'll raise prices to maximize
Of course.
their revenue, and we as consumers need to stop worrying about the health of the industry or the health of the publishers who are making all the money. It's the developers that are suffering.
You
The publishers and the platforms are making all the money.
You know what is hurting the health of the developers right now? The games themselves. It's not the pricing. It's the games. Build good games. Make great games again, because seriously, the games, man, I almost sounded like Trump there. Holy crap. Anyways, but yes, you need to make games great again. They freaking games are freaking coming out broken, buggy, or just plain terrible. It's been going on for years now. I would say in the last 5 years, I can count on my hand how many games I personally think are great. And maybe just a few of those are masterpiece level, maybe 2 or 3, if that. But we're just not getting the quality of games that we once did way back in the past. I'm going even back to generations before last even.
Well, I asked
It's-
you that
it's just-
question the other day. I'm like, Fonz, this generation, I don't fully agree with you. I've played some, you and I both played some amazing games that that put a big smile on our face this
for
generation.
sure, for sure.
But I said, what has been like a knockout masterpiece for you this generation that kind of makes you feel somewhere on the level of Red Dead 2? And you and I were in the
Elden
park chat
Ring.
going,
Elden Ring.
Yeah. For
Elden
me, I
Ring.
don't know.
So
Dead Island 2.
But here's the problem though. It's not so much every game, because there is a lot of AA and smaller games that are incredible to a lot of people, incredible, and even showing some innovation and stuff. But when it comes to the AAA market, the industry, which is the one that is dying, or at least hurting really bad right now, I won't say dying. Some studios are. That's just the truth. Some are dying, but some of these studios are creating games that are just not in anyone's best interest. Not the publishers, not ours, not even theirs. I mean, they may think it is, but at the end of the day, they're not selling because they're not good. Period. That is a big problem. And it seems like a lot of us, especially casual gamers, they look towards the big games more than they do any of the smaller games. That's the ones they look out to buy. And if they're not buying those, that's a big problem for the industry, and it's a major problem for all the AAA developers. And this is the main concern. It's not necessarily the pricing. The pricing hurts. It does. The $70 games has hurt the industry, but more so crappy games. Would you not agree with that, Hargeet? Yeah.
I am muted. Yeah. So I don't know if like all games are terrible. You know, usually the ones that come
Not
out
all.
on
A
Nintendo
lot.
tend to be more polished. So there are games that came out on Nintendo that have been pretty good. As far as Xbox and PlayStation, they've had some good ones on PlayStation as well. And then just in general, and then you know, Xbox has had some pretty good games as well. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of Halo Infinite, but maybe it was different for
I
different
enjoyed
people.
it. I enjoyed it.
So it's you know, it just depends on what you like. Have there been like, you know, the game that defines the generation? I mean, up to now, I gotta say it's Elden Ring, even though I hate finish that game. But it's gotta be so far. I think that is the game that defines this generation. We'll see if something supplants that and you know, replaces that over the next few years. There's certainly potentials for it. I think there's been a lot of variety of cool things that have come up because Game Pass exists, and we get to play all sorts of things. We get what you call it, obscure whatever it is, 33, the Expedition 33 that's coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and Adamfall isn't super highly rated, but it's a pretty unique game
Supposedly
that's
it's
really
pretty good as
captured a
well.
lot of
Again,
people.
that's a smaller game. When you look at the AAA industry, though, that is really
Well, the AAA industry's cooked, bro. It's
I mean,
the best games are coming from smaller studios.
well, I mean,
like
look at
the best game of the year right now. That's probably the game of the year is Split Fiction.
and
It is the
part
most
of those-
high quality, most varied, just joy delivering game.
Yep.
And I haven't even finished it.
That's what I'm
And,
saying. That's what I'm saying. And it's not those companies, it's not those smaller developers that are hurting right now. It's the bigger ones, because part of the games that the list that I have that I can count on one hand that are great to me for this generation are smaller teams, are low budget games. Stuff like Baldur's Gate 3, which only cost $50 million to produce total. And that game is incredible to me. A lot of these big games that are 400, 300 million, 500 million, they're trash. A lot of them are so bad. Freaking $200 million games, just bad games like Veilguard. That game really, really, really hurts the industry. Really hurt BioWare immensely. And matter of fact, I've heard people even say that it hurt them so bad, because I know I feel this way, Cole. I haven't really asked you this, I don't think, but how do you feel about the next Mass Effect game that they're building? Are you excited, super excited, based on what you played with Veilguard?
No, I'm really worried about the next Mass Effect. I don't care who is on the team. Like I'm worried.
Yep.
Because there's a special magic that comes together, even with Casey Hudson, who by the end or toward the end of the trilogy was not well liked by some people. There's some magic there, and that game also came out at a time when people, you know, got slapped in the back of the head. You know, maybe not slapped in the back of the head, but you know, studios were there was probably a culture of, you know, you could raise your voice at employees, because in the workplace that's changed over the past 10 years. There's a lot. It's kind of a funny thing for me to say, but there's everything is different about how games are made and what type of people work there. And some of our favorite games were made under crunch culture. Some of our favorite games, people worked for bosses that were real hard asses and, you know, really cracked down on people, and they worked long hours. And they poured their blood and tears into games and made them amazing. But that's part of it. It's part of an old guard, but I'm worried about BioWare. They're just none of the same people work there. None of them. Like maybe like
No.
12. But I'm worried about that.
It's the same thing with at Bungie, and I know Marathon is due to be at least previewed soon. Cole, I know you even got an email about this, and they tried to hit you up, and I don't know if you're going to do it or not. But
people went out. I normally wouldn't have said anything, or normally you shouldn't have said anything, but I got something and then people went out and did a hands-on in Seattle at the Bungie studio.
Yeah.
But maybe I am included in a group that's playing something remote or getting a download build later down the road. I have no idea.
But when it comes to Marathon, though, like the team there at Bungie, none of those founders are there anymore. Nobody that I really liked back in the Halo days is working in Bungie anymore. They are a completely different team. It's just not even remotely the same people. And am I excited for Marathon? No, I'm not. Am I interested in seeing what it is? Of course. But at the end of the day, it's just an extraction shooter from what we're hearing. And I really don't give two shits about an extraction shooter. It's just not
I don't
for
either.
Me. It's not for me.
I mean, so like, yes, there are games that aren't as good, but look, Hogwarts Legacy was freaking fantastic.
It was a good game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really good.
Hogwarts Legacy is one of the top games.
Yeah, Japanese publishers have been putting out some awesome games, like you mentioned, Elden Ring. But there's been other ones that, like Metaphor. I don't know how the Capcom games have been faring.
But Hargy, you're stating Asian teams, right? Like, it's the West versus the East when it comes to these games.
No, fair enough.
And the East is kicking ass. You're right.
It is.
The East is
and
kicking
Black
ass.
Myth Wukong did really well, and so there's plenty of games coming out of the East that seem to be like doing, I think, relatively well. And are there bugs? Sure. Are there performance issues? Has been the major one, and okay, that can be resolved. Some people seem to love the Star Wars games from EA. What was it, Jedi Survivor or whatever? So they had a couple of those. Those seem to be pretty good. There have been like spots of really, really good games. I still Tears of the Kingdom was really good. There's games that are good, but like it just maybe there's more hopes for games when it's AAA and they aren't. I guess maybe our expectations have just risen to a level of crazy, right? Because we've had awesome, and they're like, we want something even more. And it's like, well, what if it's just the same? Like you look at Starfield, and you're like, okay, well, what was your expectation? And my expectation is that there's 1,000 planets that are all equal to Skyrim. That would take
that's true.
100 years to make. That's not, it's like that's not realistic, right? So there's just things there, and I have this fear of Elder Scrolls 6. People are going to expect it to be something that it just can't meet because they want to, want like the entire industry of everything that's evolved for that team to now do, and say, well, that wasn't what that team does, right? So even if it is the same
I
team,
agree with that.
It's a little bit of
that for the most part.
Now they need to evolve. Yeah. That's fair, but are they going to evolve to a level where you're very happy? It's unfortunate Cyberpunk launched in the with the performance issues on the old gen. They should have just dropped the old gen.
Yeah,
said,
they should have.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah, they should have.
And then like have it, next gen only, PC only. But that game was also freaking fantastic. And but unfortunately, it was plagued with bugs and performance issues. And now if you go play that game, it's a pretty damn good game.
Yeah.
So again, another good Western game.
It was at launch.
But so it's like spotty here and there. Like there are problems in some of these games nowadays, but like I don't know. There are times when I really enjoy the game and I can't put it down. And it's like, well, I still
that was
think
me at Cyberpunk
exists.
at launch. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It had a few glitches or bugs here or there, but it was just spectacular, and I couldn't put it down. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you got to play it now that it's fixed." I'm like, "Now that it's better." We've played enough games. Like people here watching your show have played thousands of games, right? And hit the like button if you're here.
Thank you.
We understand what we understand how much a studio and a game series should evolve depending on how much time it's been. And when you wait 8 years between Fallout 4 and Starfield, you should have a realistic expectation of how Starfield should evolve from Fallout 4 and Skyrim. And I love Starfield, but it did not come fully up to what I expected in evolution of all the rest of the studios. And it's not just a Bethesda or certain studios problems. Like we've watched all these games evolve up over the years of 2-year development to 5-year development to 8-year development or whatever. We've seen games like make their leaps through the generations, and Starfield didn't quite meet up to what a 2023 game should be in what it offered, and it's still a great game. So I don't think we're foolish to say that Elder Scrolls 6 in 2027 or 2028, we should expect a level of everything we loved about Skyrim, the visuals that blew me away in Starfield. Starfield's a gorgeous game, just a little bit barren. I expect Starfield level graphics. I expect 2011 evolved into the 2020s immersion that I got in Skyrim. And I expect them to do that, but I feel like they probably won't. That they'll do the status quo. They'll make a great solid game, and I'll be playing Elder Scrolls 6 and think there's so much more they knew they were supposed to do. And they didn't, because it's just too much for them.
That's the problem. It's that expectation that a lot of us should have, based on so many years gone by, engine rehauls or, additions to whatever. But it's also, you think back to their last game and did it meet your expectation with that last game? And if it's a no, then you're kind of going into that next game going, I want this, but I don't think it's going to be there. And it sucks to have that feeling, because honestly, before Starfield came out, I was really, really, really excited for that game. I mean, come on, man. I was the guy that was doing the whole Starfield, and doing all that stuff. And I was so pumped, and it was such a letdown, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed my time with Starfield. But there was so many moments I was like, man, why they missed on this? They could have capitalized on that. Why didn't they do this out here? And and then what it boils down to is like, you look at their engine and you go, okay, I think it's due to the fact that they didn't really overhaul this thing enough. The engine is just maybe kind of too old. I don't know. Hopefully they do something with different with Elder Scrolls 6, because I've talked to some people who are fans of the series, but they're worried. I'm going to out him right here because he didn't show up today. Zocker's a big fan of Elder Scrolls, and he even told me that he's worried about it based on Starfield. So there are those people. I'm worried about it a bit, I'll be honest. Like, am I going to still play it? Of course. I love the Elder Scrolls series, but I want them to evolve even more. I do. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have the same issue. I don't look at a game and say, you have to meet what everybody else does. I just take the game for what it is, right? So whatever they offer, and I just let it try to entice me, right? So I'll enjoy it if it's good. And that's about it. I don't need to have like expectations for it. I don't care. Yeah. So Witcher 4, I'm not expecting it to like, you did all these things in Witcher 3, and then you did these in Cyberpunk, and then these things came up after that, and you didn't put those in. And I don't think this is a good. I don't care.
This is an interesting thing. Then
it's good.
Hargy, now you bring up something that I need to ask you, because I don't think I've asked you this at all in this whole generation so far. What has been your favorite game?
Oh my gosh, that is a good question. Hey, it's Gaz.
Yo. What are you saying,
Yo.
boys?
Oh,
how's it going?
I'll try to fix it while you guys talk. But yeah, what would be your favorite game so far?
Just within the 2020 November-ish onwards.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know. Maybe it's Tears. Maybe it's Hogwarts. It's probably one of those. Starfield's right up there. It's a tough one, right? There are other games. I mean, like it didn't come out then, but I played Ghost of Tsushima after that, and to me, that's I love that game. That's the top game for me from PlayStation. So
yeah.
I'd put one of those. I don't know which one. It's actually difficult for me to pick one of those. Man.
It's tough.
I'm gonna give it to Ghost. I'm gonna give it to Ghost of Tsushima. But even though it doesn't qualify, I'm gonna give it to Ghost. I think I love that like Ubisoftness that was there before they made it.
So yeah, and that was a PS4 game. So you have nothing this gen.
No, Starfield. I have Starfield. That's
or Hogwarts.
Starfield.
Hogwarts is all over the place, right? Hogwarts is on Switch all the way up to current gen and PC, right? But yeah, Hogwarts is fantastic. I love that game too. That was great. But yeah, and so Starfield would be the only current gen game in that list. But
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
What are we
That's
talking about?
crazy. What about you, Colt? What would you say is your favorite this
He's
This
asking
gen.
what our favorite game was
This
this generation. It'd either be Starfield or Cyberpunk. I have more time in Starfield, but it's probably Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk also offered like an emotional connection that Starfield didn't quite give me. So probably Cyberpunk overall. But the honorable mentions that no one cares about here in honorable mentions, but Dead Island 2 was freaking awesome, way better than anybody thought it could be. And Hogwarts Legacy was like, took me from, I didn't even really love the movies to, I absolutely loved the game. And Hargeet sent me the whole series. We sat down and watched it with my family that summer. And then that fall when Hogwarts Legacy came out, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's even better than the movies for me. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Wow. Yeah. For
Man,
me,
Fonz is having a good time setting this thing
yeah,
up.
for me, Elden Ring. Elden Ring. It's my favorite.
I mean, it definitely is like the game of the generation. I have to admit, but I finished that game. I finished it, but I didn't. I threw that thing like no. I'm like I'm installing this thing and I put it back on. Try to finish it. Gaz and I played It Takes Two, which was also fantastic, great game. But yeah.
Yeah.
It Takes Two was an amazing game.
Yeah, Gaz, welcome,
about you,
man.
Gaz?
What have
What's your
you been
ultimate?
doing, bro?
Masturbate. Oh, sorry, what? Oh, recent this gen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not your masturbating habits. What have you been playing besides yourself? Yeah.
I think this gen is actually an interesting question because Cyberpunk comes out in my mind. Elden Ring would come up if I completed it, but I've started it twice over and I have to start it third time now because I'm on PC. So I think by the end of this gen, it'll be interesting to see what I would classify as my favorite games. But at the top, for me, it's easy to say that Cyberpunk and Cocoon are the two games that really come
Cocoon.
up.
What the fuck is Cocoon? The Wilford
puzzle
Brimley
game with
movie
the
from
little-
the 80s?
Oh no, what? No, man.
Diabetes.
Cocoon is the guy from the guys who created thingy, Limbo, and what's the other game? Which is even
Diabetes.
better.
Well,
Not Diabetes. Oh, they're so good, man. They're so talented. The Cocoon is one of the best games you can play.
but see, it's a smaller team, because I was talking earlier about how these big AAA teams, I mean, they're just destroying the industry with some of these games coming out. Like they're just not even. It's like they're not even trying.
So yeah, when people cry about this, a lot of people are like, oh, the gaming crash is happening, and they're crying about it. Honestly, and then people I might get hate for this.
Go ahead.
Let it happen. Let it fucking happen, man. The AAA space
Yeah.
has been so bereft of any appetite for real innovation or risk taking that I just let it all implode on itself, so that gamers and developers can realize that okay, let's go back to let's just cut the fat. If gaming starts, if it implodes upon itself, then so many of these new age developers or pretenders are riding the wave to monetize our hobby just for the sake. This is the bastardization of our hobby. So we've got, and a lot of people have this like weird view, like, oh no, gaming is better. Like you said this on my show earlier. Like, this is like the golden prime time of gaming. I'm like, you fucking retard. No, it's not. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But it's not the case. It's like this is bullshit. Like there's no real innovation. And name me the AAA space. People are taking ambitious strides and everything. I've said this ad nauseum. Like there's no game right now that even matches World of Warcraft scope that we got that 25 god knows.
Joseph Ferris is the only one who's actually like stretching his legs and reaching for the stars with. Yeah, like I don't.
Still smaller though, right? I kind of agree with Fonz.
I don't care how small it is. The smallest studios are making the best games right now.
They're the smaller studios.
Fair.
That's why. Yeah, they are. That's what I said.
But here's the problem, right? If you're gonna spend $200 million, you're gonna expect a return. So, and that's the problem that you run into, right? And then they're gonna not take risks. That's just the way it is, right? So if the budget was like $30 million and you had to take a risk and you say, okay, well, could we lose $30 million? Yeah, okay, fine, go ahead and take the risk. But the budget's 10 times that. I'm sorry, they're not going to take a risk. They're just not, and that's just the way it is. Nobody wants to take that kind of risk. It's tough to do. Like there was an article about Deus Ex, right? The team has been trying to make another Deus Ex, but they can't because they can't get the money. Because it's always too big and it costs too much and the risk is too high and nobody's gonna buy it.
Eidos wouldn't let them and Square wouldn't let them, even though people love that series.
You could do so much.
But the people that love that series is too small. That's the problem. So.
But just look, look. Everyone's gonna like, oh, you're not a game dev. You don't know what the real cost of manufacturing and developing these games are. But I'm like, with the common sense, like I'm seeing indies and AA's do stuff with UE5 that's astonishing. You're telling me that if a dedicated team of people want to make Deus Ex Machina, Deus Ex was amazing. It doesn't need to be an open world blow the socks off. If that's what it takes, and we need to go ahead and like scale things back because we're just facing visuals alone, then do it. Let it happen. Let the collapse happen, man. This is bullshit.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right. And I was even saying earlier, not just the scale back in graphical fidelity or whatever, if that's the case, but also scale back the teams. We don't need 19,000 people working on a fucking game. Like, I'll wait an extra 2 years for a good game, a great game. I don't care. Like, cut your production cost in one way or another. Like, you don't need to spend 400, 500 million on a fucking game to make it great. Again, I point to Baldur's Gate 3, $50 million to make. Looks every bit as good as fucking any of these AAA games out here. And it's well voice acted.
I mentioned Baldur's Gate 3, and it reminds me of the time he ate.
By the way, Gaz sounds low to me.
Yeah, he's a little low. He's a little low.
Oh, you racist.
You can adjust it for yourself in Discord.
Oh, wait, hold on. This must be better.
This must be better. There we go. Much better.
Okay. Talk. Say something, Gaz.
I'm saying something. Sorry,
all
I
right. Now that's better. Yeah. That's better.
Yeah,
you were low.
Much better.
Yeah, sorry.
Now sing some auto-tune.
Yeah, my auto-tune's messed up, so it makes me
sound like this.
So I had to.
Wait, that sounded like your regular voice.
Oh, wow.
Web Dave with $1.99 says Colt Gas Hargeet Fonz Mega Panel. Fire emojis. Tariffs are a lie. Well, in the case of Nintendo excuses, because all these prices were announced before the tariffs. So, it's
how do you feel, Huggy? Your favorite company just shat on your dreams?
My favorite company? I have a favorite company?
Nintendo.
I don't know if I have a favorite company. I like some of the games. I mean, I like PlayStation games for that matter. So, are they a favorite company?
Oh, you don't, you lying piece of shit.
You hate PlayStation.
I literally just said.
You hate.
I literally said Ghost of Tsushima was my favorite game of the generation.
It was last gen game. What game did you like this gen?
I played it this generation.
Hey, Gaz, you can't say that because this generation, a lot of their games have been shit, in my opinion, and I love PlayStation games.
That's true.
But
anyway, sorry.
Fonz loved PlayStation games.
Yeah,
he hasn't liked a PlayStation game this gen.
I like. Okay, for instance, Ragnarok was
MFer wouldn't even play
okay,
Astrobot,
but I did play Astrobot. I beat Astrobot.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
I'm one of the 2.3 million that bought it. Game of the year, and it only sold 2.3 mil. Like, come on, I'm one of the few that bought it.
If it was a Mario game, it would be 10 times that. But it is.
I forgot. He won't play Split Fiction though,
because I have nobody to play with.
Split Fiction are going to be good.
I think
it'd be good.
Let's play together.
Split Fiction says it. But anyway, so sorry. What was the question to me? What was it? Gaz, did you ask something? I don't remember. What?
Yeah. Why do you hate brown people?
Oh! It was. What do I think about Nintendo and the tariffs?
Whoa.
Is that what you asked, or just Nintendo in general?
Yeah, Nintendo in general.
In general, yeah. So as far as the Switch release, so far the console, it's good. The console is where it should be. The one thing that I'm not overly fond of is the $80 for Mario Kart. I don't understand that. But I get it. I understand that just being greedy. But I don't like it.
Artie, explain to us why Mario Kart World looks like it was made in 2008 and go.
Well, because
it doesn't need to.
It's not intended to look.
Don't tell me it doesn't need to. It hasn't evolved visually at all.
It does look better than the Mario Kart 8. It does look better. It looks better.
Does it? I mean, we just said like scale back the games. The game budgets don't need to be too high. Yeah. And now you're like, why does it not look so good? Like, you literally contradicted yourself, you little. This is why everyone hates you on Twitter. You.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Whoa. This is why everybody hates
But no,
you
I
on
mean that's
Twitter.
the thing. It's like
Oh,
nobody
wow.
expects to see a Mario game that has like real people, right? That's not
No.
like they've tried that with a movie and it flopped miserably. That's not how
That's
it goes,
racist.
right? So you don't want that. It should that is what you expect for a Mario Kart, right? And that's what you got. So I like it looks better. It definitely looks better if you do a side by side with 8 to World. It looks better. Is it going to look a lot better? It's not going to look like Forza Horizon, which by the way is going to show up on there, right? Forza Horizon 5 is coming on that little device.
Can't
So
look like XQC right now. It's weird.
It
so
looks like XQC.
I don't. I think the problem is people expect their first party to act like PlayStation's first party. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. You're not going to get a Last of Us from them. That's just not going to happen. They've got their formula, and you have to look at their sales numbers and say, yeah, I understand. Because look, they'll sell a next Zelda, it'll be 30 million copies. They'll sell a next Mario, it's 30 million copies, and nobody replicates that. It's very difficult to replicate that.
It's
right?
true.
Yes,
Yeah.
Xbox has some games that can do that. Fair enough. Tell me the PlayStation games that sell at that level. Ragnarok was their most sales this generation, and that was like, what, 15 million? 16, something like that? Did it breach 20? Right, and you look at their average. Is it like the stupid the 2D Mario? What was Mario Wonder sold over 15 million?
Mario Wonder, that's the one. Yeah.
That's not even a 3D Mario. It's just a stupid sideshow game, and they're like, oh, okay, 15 million copies, right? Mario Kart sold something like 63 million or something ridiculous copies.
Well, they sell because they build they make games that are freaking fun and appeal to their audience. Period. That's all it's about.
Yeah, it's gonna sell. Sad. I hate it. I don't think the $80 thing was warranted. It sucks.
No.
It
Gaz
sucks.
likes
But
it.
you
He
know
told
they're
me
gonna win.
secretly. He said he's glad to pay $100
they're
for
gonna win.
greatness.
I'll play for $100.
You know they're gonna win.
I'll pay. I'll
they're
pay
gonna win.
$100 for GTA 6. I'll pay.
Yeah, which by the way, I think $80 for GTA 6 is much more warranted than $80 for Mario Kart, in my opinion. But they'll get away with it.
What
They'll
was
get
the
away with it.
budget? What was the
But
budget on GTA
they
6?
already.
It's like $1 billion.
It doesn't matter what the budget
over
is.
$1 billion.
It does, though.
Doesn't matter what the budget is. Grand Theft Auto 5 made its money back in 3 days.
Oh, I know, but they need to recoup that cost as fast as possible when you spend
The
$1
problem
billion.
is there's no justification. There's no justification for hiking the price twice in one generation.
Who says that?
Just because you're Rockstar.
There's no justification when you look at their financial reports. That's what I say.
Sure.
And what Hargeet
Their
explained earlier.
businesses, they will squeeze you for as much as profit. Look, think about it. In any business, is there supply? Is there a demand? Then you supply it. Okay, you may have, we may have an idea of equity and justice and commercial consumerism, and say like Cole Eastwood just said, there's no justification for raising your price twice this generation. Said who? Mahatma Gandhi? You call you.
You know
No,
what?
it
We talked about this to death earlier, so I'm going to move along and just since we're talking about companies that are just greedy, let's talk about Xbox. Let's talk about Xbox's new handheld with Asus or whatever you want to call it. Colt, what do you know about this handheld? I know you just did a video on it. What do you know?
Mm-hmm.
crap.
I don't know. Am I allowed to talk, Gaz?
No, fuck you. Sorry.
All right, bye. Not very much, other than it's not the handheld you're waiting for. It doesn't play your Xbox console games, only plays Play Anywhere stuff. Has an Xbox button on it. Looks a lot like a ROG Ally. It's slightly better battery, a little more storage, a little more performance. Probably super expensive. If you already have a ROG Ally, why would you buy this? I don't know. That's where I'm sitting with it. And I was leery about making a video about this thing because I think that most smart people know, like, why do I want this? Like, this isn't, why are they making this? Right. And I think part of the problem is kind of what Gaz was talking about, these corporations is squeezing. Microsoft can take some of the heat off of themselves, and Asus can take some of the heat off of themselves, making it's like a mutual beneficial partnership where they help us with the hardware, they help us funding, and they help us with the customers, and it takes some of the bite off of on their end for building this thing and marketing it out and selling it. So Microsoft and Xbox and Asus stand to benefit from partnering on this thing. And for us as fans, Like if you never had gotten around to buying a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or whatever, maybe you might, hey, this might be the time. The other part is that Windows Central and other journalists are saying that this thing might have the game hub where it has more of a big picture mode for Xbox. So my ROG Ally is a pain in the butt. I got to open up a desktop mode and launch an app and push through it with the touch screen. Some of it works with the controls. It's not the nicest way to get into your games, but maybe this one will be a little better. But does that justify a, let's say, $650 handheld in the US? I don't know.
So I'm saying when you look at those prices for those handhelds and what they come with or don't come with, and then you look at the Switch 2, you're kind of like, okay, I get $450, you know. But this Asus machine, though, like I know we keep saying this is not the one you're waiting for. This is not the Xbox de facto freaking handheld that's going to play all your games and everything. When do you think that one comes out, though? When does that handheld drop? No, the other one.
I think it's this holiday.
The Asus is the rumor, holiday, right?
I think so. The Asus one is, this holiday.
But what about the one that Xbox is supposedly creating?
2027.
Damn. So you think alongside the console, huh? So it'll be that
maybe
that
6 months before.
So it's confirmed that is that console Series S. Gotcha. The console will probably be $900, right? $800.
It's like, oh no, the Series S when the Steam Deck is playing tons of games. It's like, oh, whatever. I don't know.
It's true. No. It's true.
And there's multi-plats are like, hey, we're making a version on the Switch 2. So the Switch 2, is that going to hold anything back? Nah. Switch 2 is still getting some older games.
But where's Wukong? Wukong hasn't hit Xbox yet.
PlayStation struck a deal with them. It's not coming to Xbox. Not coming to Xbox anytime soon. I don't know how more clear
Game Science said that wasn't true.
They're lying. Have you Jez Corden's reported on it? And is that report that they said that PlayStation, I don't remember the quote, so I can't paraphrase it. That PlayStation had been very, very helpful with them. PlayStation put a bunch of money in there, and if you want a game to exclusive, you're totally allowed to do that.
Yeah,
but they did. Well, why wouldn't they just say it though? That's what's weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they're not publishing the game, and they're
Gaz, you're frozen. You're frozen.
Oh.
He is?
Game Seeker with a 5. Thank you very much. He says, will Mario Kart World free roam mode be like a Forza Horizon game? Good question. I don't know. I assume it may be. Maybe when Hargeet gets back, we'll ask him. Darn thread, I guess, with 50, I don't know where that's from, SEK, I don't know.
Isn't that Norwegian or something? What is it? Let me just check.
Yeah, it's Sweden, I think. Sweden. He said, you think you have it bad. Pre-order prices in Sweden, $680 for the Switch 2, or $750 bundled with Mario Kart World. Wow. I think that takes the cake for the most expensive pre-order for the Switch, I think, that I've heard so far. Dang, it's worse than Canada and Australia.
They charge more in the places where you think it'd be more difficult for them to buy it. They don't seem to care. That's just the way it is, right? It's cheaper in Japan, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the Mario Kart being Forza Horizon 5's level of open roamness, we just don't know. I don't think it'll be that level because it's the first time they're doing it. So we'll see, right? So the first incarnation of Forza Horizon wasn't as good as the latest incarnation. It's just the way it goes, right? They'll evolve over time. But we'll see, right? They're doing a lot of cool things, and we have not played the game. Will it have some capabilities like that? Yes. Will it have the same level? There's a lot of cool things they do to make it fun for you to roam around, right? On Forza Horizon 5, right? So you can go off road and do things, and you're still gaining points, right? And then they have these little objective things you can just find randomly and go do them. I don't know to what level they will pack that in, right? So this might be their first time trying it, and they're like, hey, we'll just make it so you can go off road. Will you do anything off road? Maybe not, right? But maybe they do. We will find out.
And you're going to pay that $80 because you get to play as a cow in Mario Kart. It's awesome.
I'm a
It's
cow in
worth it.
real life.
Yeah, that's what my wife tells me.
Gaz, I can't hear you. I don't. You're talking, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, you're busted, bro. You're busted. As far as what else? What else we got? There was something else that we were talking about.
There, he's back now.
Yeah, I can hear
I'm
you.
playing Doom.
Go ahead, guys.
I'm playing Doom through Copilot in the cloud. It's generating the game as I play it.
The original Doom?
Which Doom?
Yeah. It just came out. You can play it. The original Doom. I think it's Doom 2, actually.
It might be Doom 3. It looks like Doom 3 to me. Because Doom 1 and 2 look identical, the first one.
No. This is Quake, no? It's Quake.
Wait, you don't know the
What did you
difference
write on
between
Copilot to
Quake
get
and
to it?
Doom?
I'm being a retard. Sorry. Stop saying that. I'm playing Quake 2.
That's fine. You can say retard. It's fine.
Oh, yay. Cody's back. But it's AI generating is this the gun from Quake 2, man? I'm pretty sure, bro. Yeah. And I'm
What did you write to get to that?
Thingy shared it. What's his name? Tom Warren. And Microsoft Copilot has just launched this thing, and it's a browser, and you can play it right now. And this AI is generating the game. It's a bit weird because mouse and keyboard doesn't seem to work, so I'm just using keyboard, WASD, and the arrow keys. Time limit has been reached. What's the point?
How long did you play it?
Like a minute.
A minute. Dang.
Yeah.
Time limit.
But that was running on the cloud. That was weird. It was AI generating every frame. That was really weird.
All right. Well,
Yeah, it does look like Quake 1. Yeah.
Quake 2.
It says Quake 2 though. Yeah.
Does it? Okay. I remember that gun.
anything else you guys want to cover? Anything else? Any other news that we got? Because I've got nothing else.
Let me look really quick.
South of Mid shit.
We can talk about the release of South of Midnight. Yeah, that's pretty good.
South of Midnight.
South of Midnight just released early access anyway, 2 days ago, I believe. For those that paid the upgrade $10 fee for early access, which I consider the real launch of the game. Anytime there's early access, I'm just like, that's the launch date, okay? And the price they want you to pay, that extra $10 or whatever it may be, that's the price of the game, okay? You're just paying for late access, okay? You pay $10 less for late access. So
jeez.
Yeah, or you get it in Game Pass for late access.
Why do you have to look at it backwards?
Because that's the way it is. Because anytime something comes out, that's the launch date. You can't tell me, oh, it's early. It's the launch date. PoE 2, they say it's early release. It's already launched. Everybody's playing it. It's just the way it is. So South of Midnight, it's kind of polarizing. Not really with Metacritic. Metacritic, it's kind of favorable. You know, it's getting a 77 currently. It was up to a 78 at one point. But now it's like when you talk to people, especially your review, Colt, you know, we talked about it for a couple of days now. And
I should have never made that review. I should have never reviewed it. And Grum's like screenshotted me and made a whole tweet about it.
Well, Grum's
the guy's so illiterate. One sentence, he had 2 major mistakes in his one sentence. He's so brain dead.
Well, Grum's is a dumbass, and you know, I basically consider him a racist too at this point.
I mean, he didn't make fun of me or anything. He was just using my tweet
that's
as
just my
as
assumption anyway. I'm not saying it's fact or whatever, but I look at the guy and I read what he writes, and I just think he's bigoted, racist, just weirdo, completely. Don't like the guy. And
I'm not a good human, but whatever.
When I saw him write that thing and use you especially, it was obvious to me that somebody must have sent him your review on Twitter and giving it a 69. But you have no qualms. Like, you're not really hating on the game. You don't hate the game. You actually like the game. You just, I mean, what is it about the
game? I just like way more games more than that. Like, that game does not feel like it's near 7s or 8s that I've liked more that offer a little more variety, like, you know. But yeah, I liked it. I'm glad I played it. You're like, what the F you mean? You glad? What does that even mean? I'm glad I played it. I'm like, well, I'm sorry that English is a second language for you or something, but I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I went through and played the whole game. I don't even need to expound on that sentence when I said that.
Yeah,
But
because
whatever.
even behind the scenes, when you were talking to us, you were telling me and Zocker and Gaz, you were like, "Look, I'm really enjoying the game. This game is good, but the gameplay lacks a bit." That's what you were saying. That
It
the
just
gameplay
shows you
doesn't
some really
evolve.
cool things in the first 2 chapters. It's like the traversal's cool and collecting little bits of pieces of here and kind of getting the stories cool. And then you have a chase scene and then you have this combat and that's cool. But then it here's what it does. Chapter 1 and 2, you do this and then you do this and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again and you do it again. You do it like 7 times. And it's just like, guys, like the very little bit of evolution is really holding back this from being a great game where I can be super excited. A little bit of a change in the South for the backdrop wasn't quite enough. But I would like to actually hear what Gaz thinks since he hasn't finished it. And he seemed to like kind of teeter-totter, as I usually do, on what. How did you feel about what you've played?
In that word. I'm in chapter 5. Wait, chapter 3, 4, 5. I finished that boss, the alligator boss, whatever. And
Okay, so you're
honestly,
10 minutes in. All right. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
You're not 10 minutes in.
I'm just a couple of hours in, and it's kind of shit, man. Like, I mean, look, I'm perplexed at how games get greenlit and tested and whatnot, and push through and get funding sometimes, because it feels like they developed everything else first, the story, the vibes, the music, all of that, and at the end of it they thought, all right, let's get the gameplay sorted. And
I agree.
It feels like gameplay was tacked on to the rest of the package, which is a bit of an asinine way of going about it, because ultimately you're selling a game. I get it, the story, of course, story is important, music is important, I love these things in the game that sell the experience. But if you're doesn't it tell you which chapter I'm in? No, it doesn't. I'm looking at it right now. Chapter 6.
It should when you load up your game. But you're probably in chapter 4 or 5.
I'm in 6. Chapter 6. Hush, hush, sweet cherry. And I'm like, I really wanted to like the game. And I'm struggling to like it at all. Like instantly, the moment you put the controls on, you're like, oh, I mean, the graphics are good. Like Unreal Engine carries it. The art style is really good. You know, the fidelity is good. It's not like, but it's just really just dry. It's just like, okay, I'm looking at compulsion games at a more critical angle. I'm like, you guys really got a big publicity kind of like thing with We Happy Few. There are a lot of eyes on We Happy Few. This is going to promise the end of the everything, like, you know, because at that time it was BioShock was big, and then this seemed to have got those vibes really well, and that game faltered, and that game was more style over substance, and you've done it again. And I'm like, I don't know what the future is for compulsion games, but I think compulsion games have given 2 chances now, and they faltered fundamentally on their gameplay. So what that means,
their last game was crowdfunded and then picked up by Gearbox in the last moment and funded. But South of Midnight is the sales numbers on South of Midnight or the attach rate on Game Pass, I expect to be very, very, very low.
Can I tell you
it'll be
something about
lucky
that?
to peak at 1,200 players on Steam.
Okay, so I haven't played the game yet myself. I've got to wait, of course, until a couple of days from now when it launches late. Anyways, but one thing I did tell you is I talked to someone the other night, and I was asking him about the game, and he had no idea what I was talking about. I mentioned South of Midnight, it's Metacritic. He had absolutely zero idea of what this game was, what it was about, anything. So that's another problem, is that it's just there's hardly any kind of push for this game at all. Like, and I know it's a smaller game for Xbox, but you'd think that they would at least market this game somewhat to some degree, and there's just been nothing. Absolutely nothing. People don't know about this game.
it's probably a good thing. I know, but at the same time, I was going to be like, well, I don't look. It had its work cut out for it to make an impression. And would you, in hindsight, even foresight, but dedicate a big marketing budget for a title like this.
No, I'm not saying a big marketing budget at all, but like this guy I
What
talked to
marketing
is in gaming, a gaming content creator on YouTube who's big, and
Okay.
he just has no idea of this game. Like he's on
Is it
Twitter
Legendary
too,
Drops?
and it's not on his radar whatsoever.
Legendary Drops, right? You're talking about Legendary
I'm
Drops.
not telling you who it is.
It's
But
Legendary
anyways,
Drops.
yeah,
Well,
no
now
idea.
he'll know about it because there's going to be negative news about it, and he'll definitely cover it. No, I'm just kidding. I mean,
Oh, I see
no, I
what
was
you
gonna
did there. Wow.
no, honestly, Fonz, look,
But
what
you
do you
don't
think?
like it, huh? You don't like it.
It exists. I want to see the story through. I wish I could press start
Okay.
and just like
You
go
can.
through the story.
You can skip all of the combat.
Really?
That
What?
blue number in the chat says they don't really market anything. Yeah, I said under my breath, what marketing?
You
Their
can skip-
marketing is Aaron Greenberg putting out a tweet or sharing other people's positive tweets about games. Their marketing is non-existent. I understand that the marketing in this era in the 2010s or 2020s has really been about just putting stuff on the internet. You know, I would never see a commercial on TV because I'd never watch TV. But
Yeah.
people don't know what South of Midnight is. They didn't really know very much about what Avowed. The only marketing Avowed got and South of Midnight got was from Grums and Smash JT and those guys.
Jeez. And these are the guys that are calling it DEI slop along with other people. And I'm like, wait a minute. You guys are the same fucking people who said they don't want race swap characters in media and with established characters. But then you go ahead and make a character brand new from the ground up, be a black character, and then you scream DEI slop. You know what? You're a fucking racist for that.
They're racist.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they are.
You're bigoted. You're racist because this game has nothing to do with that. Now you could say, "Oh, Sweet Baby Inc. was involved." Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in a lot of games. Okay, they've been involved.
Sweet
in
Baby
so
Inc.
many.
was unfortunately involved in some of your favorite games as well.
But here's,
so I don't
but
take
here's
a full stance on that either.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You got people like Grums out there saying, well, the character was race swapped because originally it was supposed to be a white girl, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Says who? Says your source? Your
I mean,
trust
wasn't
me,
that
bro?
reported somewhere? Or is that just reported
I know,
from the
but here's the
grifters?
thing. No, it's the grifters. It's the trust me, bro source. And here's the thing. It's not an established character until it's fucking established. You can't say that it was race swapped unless it was a fucking established character. I'm not going to put up with that shit. You're fucking racist if you sit here and say, hey, you know what? There's a little black girl in that game, Sweet Baby involved. Guess what? It's DEI slop. You know, you're fucking stupid. This was built from the ground up to be this way. Black girl in the South. If you don't like it, don't fucking play it. But I'm not going to tolerate you being fucking racist and telling people don't play it because it's DEI slop. It's fucking dumb. It's retarded. It's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. It makes me mad because I don't like some of the woke shit that people talk about. Some of the stuff that the grifters point out, like Veilguard and shit, I'll point out and say, hey, that was too preachy, too pushy. You know, I didn't like what they did here, but I am not going to tolerate it when you just blanket statement all of these games that come out just because there may be a woman protagonist or a protagonist of color. Sorry, not going to
The worst part about it is when they're
just not.
The worst part about it is when the grifters are wrong. Like the game gets decent scores, like Avowed got great scores and they shut up about it. Indiana Jones got great scores and it did really well. And they said it was woke girl boss and they cower down and they just go after the next game. And it's not just the sexual orientation or representation thing that's in games that bothers them. They don't like it if it's, I'm just going to say it. They don't like it if you put a brown person in a game. They don't like it. And they try to hide behind the guys that there's this diversity thing and it's DEI. And they don't like it if the character's ugly. Like they went after Star Wars Outlaws is not a great game. And it had many, many problems, but they went after the way she looked. Like they're trying to push some agenda that hot people don't exist. And I don't sit on one side of this thing because I'm like, let people make sexy or cool looking or muscular or hot or whatever looking characters if that's what they want to do. Like allow that. If it let developers should be able to feel like, hey, I want to make my character look super like heroic or super sexy or whatever. And the people should allow that. But these guys, I've watched all of them go after and just grift and go against these games. And they went after Doom the Dark Ages because there's this captain lady that is like not completely hot. And so they're going to go after that. And I'm getting so tired of it. And watching, they do this because they said, we're trying to fix the industry. We're trying to help the industry. And some of these games are failing, but I don't know. I'm just getting so tired of it. It's become exhausting to where it's been so difficult to review some of these games, like Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's none of that in there. And Yasuke is a really cool character. And I didn't finish the game in time to do the review, but I could just imagine what I would have to deal with when I posted that review from all these sheep that follow each other off a cliff and say, we're non-binary, we're non-binary. You know, they're like the acolyte characters. We are non-binary, we are strong. And they all just repeat the same crap over and over, and they're ruining everything. Where I just thought about, man, if I ever got a chance to review Shadows, if I would have got it done in time, if I wasn't traveling, I would have put out that review, and my comment section would have been a diarrhea river that I would have been constantly seeing on the app when I checked on YouTube, and people just calling me horrible names because I liked a game that had a brown person in it or a female instead of a guy. It's getting exhausting.
Well, the thing is like, that's why I differentiate this game from, like, say something like Shadows, where you have Yasuke, who's a character, a real life person that existed, you know, and and people had issues with him being a samurai, not being a samurai, whatever the case may be. But I kind of get arguments being formulated there. Where I don't get it with this game is that this game was never an established character, wasn't a real character, wasn't based on a real character.
Hazel Flood.
The Hazel Flood.
And she's a good character. She's a really good character.
And you get people screaming all the time, just make your own characters. And they make their own character, their own game, and they still don't fucking like it. That, to me, just exposes you. It exposes you as a person. And I just don't like you for that. Sorry. Exactly. I just don't want to put up with that shit. It's dumb. It's funny that you use that. But anyways, you know,
no, it's it makes you think of Review Tech USA.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's what it's from. He did that.
And
it's his.
You know, and you know what? All this defense that I'm doing for this, I mean, it's just based on this situation alone. It's not even really about the game, because I could hate the fucking game. Who knows? I could play it in 2 days and be like, God, this sucks. But I will never go on record saying it's DEI, woke, or any of that shit, because not every game is that. I'm tired of that whole label. Everything just gets this blanket woke statement. As soon as they saw Split Fiction, 2 female protagonists, woke.
Oh my gosh! I got to hear Gaz's take on some of this stuff, because
I was going to do a review of South of Midnight and just had South of Midnight and there's hyphen black people and just see the reaction. It's just obviously, I'm sure Gaz that's how people think now.
Beware if you're white. Beware, yeah.
Just like black people.
Oh, the hate is ridiculous. Oh my god.
I don't know, man. This is weird. Like, I'll be honest. Okay, gamers like on the internet, I don't think they're real. They exist, man. I feel like there's like bots.
There's a lot of fake people on Twitter for sure. A lot of fakes. Like, they're not real. And even the people that are real on there, they're not bots, but they're just. They play this stupid persona. Like, they're not who they are in real life. They wouldn't act like
they don't
that
really believe
in
it
real life. This is just them acting out online. This is part of my problem with social media in general. It's fucking just
that's how social media. Often they don't even show their faces, so it's like a lot of anonymity allows them to do all this kind of stuff that they would never say in your face or in real life. Bro, look. I don't have the energy for this shit anyway. I made one video on it and I was lambasting both sides on it. And one side took it.
Very good video, by the way.
Thank you. And the other side did the other. And the South of Midnight falls right under that, and for that melanin intolerance thing. I don't know what to say to it. I mean, look at Hoggy. Hoggy hates brown people and he's brown.
Huh? Is that true, Hoggy?
When I saw him in LA, he looks at me and goes, Colt, you're not tan enough. You're good in my book.
Pragmatic Eagle with the $5 says, suggestion. Y'all with these platforms All this real talk, y'all just spit. Normalize this. Shun and shame these folks. Make it normal to shut it down. I'm 100% with you. I don't have problems with doing that. The thing is I don't have a platform like Grums. And
I'm not
honestly,
taking my advice
honestly,
about games
it's-
from a guy who can't get his game off the ground. His opinion means nothing to me.
The thing is the more we highlight them on Twitter, the more they get attention, and the more they get these people that are rah Grums, let's go Grums. The more that you stir that crowd up, and the more they get freaking hateful and come after you, and it's ridiculous. It's really bad.
All of it's just dumb. Like I've gone through the Gamergate thing. I never understood it, and then it happens again, and I'm like, all right, let me see. Oh, it's so loaded. One way you've got a bunch of freaking rainbow people on getting mad. On the other side, you've got a bunch of hardcore like racists there, and in the middle, it's like, all right, can we have less of like Veilguard, less of that's horrendous Saints Row game. And just a little bit more like good storytelling and shit, and then people are just like, it's just dumb. Either way, the problem is this: Microsoft just make good games.
Yep, that's it.
I think I know what caused it, Gaz. I think I know what started this.
Let me guess.
This really kicked off when Xbox left the console war, and now people had nothing to fight over, so now they moved to this. It's Series S's fault. It's Phil's fault. Phil caused it. There's no console war.
And you
There's
know,
no console wars. They're like, well, what are we going to do now? I need to pick a side.
By the way, Lord
I'm just kidding.
XOB, thank you for the $2. He says, press X to be bored. Remember, that's an old dealer tagline. Obi stole that, by the way. He's using that on his
Yeah, you owe dealer rights and royalties.
Yeah, you do. But one of the things I preach all the time here is, I say it all the time. I don't care what you want to put in your games. You can have freaking, you can be a tree frog. You can be anybody in the LGBT plus community, whatever. I don't care, but just make it make sense. Have good writing. Have good gameplay. That's all we want. We don't give a shit. Like, just make a good game. Period. That's all you have to do. That's it.
Well, I don't think that's going to matter for those
those
people who make all the hubbub about all this, but because they're just
it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't. It really doesn't, because
it's a feedback loop. It's a feedback loop. There's one content creator I won't mention that like recently came up on the anti-DEI, anti-non-binary stuff, and he or she does not believe the things they're saying. I listened to those videos in the past few months. They're saying this memorandum and this narrative that they push that their audience gobbles up, and I sit and they don't believe that. They don't really feel that way. That YouTube has told them this generates views, this gets you money. You're making money for saying this, so do more of this, and then that becomes like their new religion. And I think that some of them don't really believe this, and that's why they attack games like Indiana Jones or Doom: The Dark Ages. Because I sound like I'm on one side, but I am in the middle on some of this stuff, because I think some of it's like Veilguard that was ridiculous, and there's just things that they need to stop trying to push a little bit of some of the agenda, right? But I think some of this is filtering out, and it's kind of going away. And I think Yasuke's character choice, they did it for a reason. They wanted to show representation and highlight this character's been in other media. But some of this stuff is kind of reaching the end of its life, where it was really blossoming in the early 2020s, and those games are now finally coming out. So I think we're going to see less of it. I don't know if these grifters are going to push harder and be really nitpicky on everything to continue that momentum. My opinion is that some of this strong-armed or heavy ham-fisted stuff is going to slowly start kind of fizzling out, because some of it does cost money or loses money.
So there's that's interesting you say that. So you do recognize that there is a lot of like forcing that kind of shit, which is true, that narrative down.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the problem. The Grums of this world make it very difficult for people like us to actually espouse any kind of critique about that stuff, because you just get lumped in with them. But there's definitely been about that, like especially in Netflix. So you see so much of these shows, like let's push it. Like, you can tell, like it's a checklist exercise. Let's make an all-female Ghostbusters. What can go so wrong. Yeah, we found out with that, and that kind of shit, and the art form is suffering completely. And the Joseph Ferris was really good when they asked about that. They're complaining about split fiction being like woke. He's like, no man, I just freaking make good stories. That's all I care about. I don't give a shit about your gender or whatever, all this shit. And that's the reality of it. And that's when I'm saying that the gaming collapse. Also, the industry became so ballooned up and so big that it brought in so many investors and people in the space that just want to monetize and profit off this space. So when you got massively rotund, just ultra nerd game dev back then, just you never really showered. They were the freaking heroes, man, because they are in there in the passion. John Carmack in his musty little basement there, just with his blow up doll, making coding Quake from scratch. Those are the kind of guys we need. These guys don't see sunlight. They may have type 7 diabetes, but damn right they're gonna make a fucking great game because they love gaming. They just love the art form, and they're going to take the next step, take strides with it. And now you've got these, this might be a controversial statement, but now you've got these new gen devs, and everyone's just like, oh, how hard can you scissor each other? Okay, yeah, you're hired. It's like all the diversity shit, and it's just like there's a genuine problem with that, and it's just like, and that's what happened. You've got a bunch of pussified gen. Oh my days! What the fuck am I looking at, Hoggy?
Oh,
what?
Hargeet. What in the?
You haven't watched South Park, have you guys?
This
is South
Scissor
Park.
meat timbers.
That just came out of nowhere.
What the?
You just said it.
I thought I know, but Hoggy, I didn't.
It's literally my aunt and uncle right now.
Wow. Wow.
You guys remember when we did this?
Yeah.
Jeez.
But it's
Oh,
true,
geez.
man. Like I'm being serious, man. Like it really is a bunch of like. If you see some of the vidocs and the guys on a tricycle wearing a rainbow flag, it's like, oh yeah, we're doing it. And I'm like,
Remember the dev at the Xbox Direct that had the rainbow flag shirt? She came in on the motorized scooter, on like the mobility scooter.
I was like, this new age gen, man. You look too happy to be a game dev, man. Just go back.
Okay, well, hold, pause, guys. You missed it. You weren't here yet when I said back 15, 20 years ago when you worked in a studio and everyone, like the boss would raise his voice and they would work late hours and you poured blood, sweat, and tears to make the most badass game ever. And now it's like my motorized scooter.
Yeah. It's true. I
mean, and it's not a knock at devs. Like it's in the game. It's in the work industry, like where I work. In our modern day work, you're not allowed to raise your voice at an employee. You have to take them aside, away from everyone else. And I'm not trying to say, man, it's better when everything was when your boss could hit you. Because back when my dad. Yeah, because like back when my dad was in the army, like they could push you or whatever. And then when my friends after high school and they went in the Marines, they weren't allowed to touch you. They could yell at you, but they there was a point when they can't even insult you. But I don't know. There's just a little bit of
obviously just exaggerating just for the comedic effect. But
it is. It's just an exaggeration.
But I do believe that the new era of developers is. Just like a lot of it is just, it's not. I'm not saying it's tokenism or like I don't know what the gender or race of these people are, but I just feel like because the industry is blown up so much, you're getting just a wide spectrum of just devs that weren't hardcore devs in the really of the pursuit of the medium, and so your Fortnite and your big free-to-play games are steering. A lot of the appetite, and you're going to get newer generation of gamers who grew up on Fortnite and stuff like that. They're not going to want a World of Warcraft MMORPG type of a really immersive world and stuff. What's funny is you're seeing a lot of the Eastern devs like still holding on to the strictures of the traditional game design as well. I'm not seeing a masses of ambition there as well because Japanese games are delivering a certain kind of flavor, but it's kind of sad to me. I honestly feel like, look, how many years do we have left in this gaming world? I used to imagine games all sorts. Like I'm still waiting for a Mass Effect MMO, which is the only example I can use.
I know.
And I want to work on a video on like that, but that's what it is. I've come. So when I say let the industry implode, let it happen, man. I don't give a shit anymore. Look, Cocoon was a one-man game or got like a handful of people. That game was beautiful. I love that game. That was one of my best games of this gen. RoboCop, I hear, is like a double A, not even that. And you're running UE5. UE5 is so powerful now. Everyone's making games. So let the industry collapse. Let Nintendo just shit on it, and let people. If it means in the long term we'll get go back to the core of what gaming is about, then
I'm with you on that. I'm with you. That's why it's kind of like, you know, if these developers continue to make mid, let them freaking just die on that sword. Then, I mean, that's really up to them. Because if you build a great game, people will buy that game. They will. It's just
well, I interrupted Gaz, but he said something really poignant about an hour ago. He said, I don't know what's going to happen with Compulsion because this is their second chance. And it was really their first chance, but it kind of is like their second or last chance with Xbox. They're not going to close down Compulsion. And I did say that I expect their sales and player counts to be really, really, really low. So I know that they asked Phil for a AAA budget when they were developing South of Midnight, and Phil told them no. So, you know, did they stay within the parentheses of what they wanted them to spend in order to what they expected Compulsion to return? Maybe not. Maybe this game is going to make far less than they were hoping it would make, and it'll just be one of those things where it's a loss lead for Xbox. And I said this in my preview video, and I've said it on other videos, that South of Midnight is the one to be weary of, and they're one of the not tried and true studios that Xbox has. Absolutely not tried and true. So there it is. And some of the Xbox content creators are saying it's absolutely amazing. I'm glad they loved it. I liked it. Glad I played it.
I mean, IGN gave it an 8, right? So many of the publications gave it good ratings.
Sure.
IGN gave it an 8. Oh wow!
Yeah.
You listen to IGN now. You
Game Seeker with a 2. Thank you very much. Canadian 2, by the way. So it's got a little ice on it.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just confusing the show. I'm hogging just to be a dick.
Oh,
Yeah, you are. He says thoughts on Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye is that game that looks kind of like a Grand Theft Auto ripoff, but looks like it's made in like
Could be a sleeper hit. It looks kind of
looks kind of
soulless
mid.
to me.
what's your prediction, Gaz?
For Mind's Eye.
Yeah,
I could be wholly wrong.
the
You know,
almighty Gaz prediction.
my predictions haven't been all that great. You see, the GTA guy is working on it, so there's that. But the game
Okay.
looks like so soulless. It's like,
Yeah,
I would
there's
say
something
big
missing,
two.
right?
yeah, it feels like I don't know what other game like last gen like it reminds me of. It just looks like
Kind of looks
You know
beat
what
by
it reminds
numbers
me
to
of?
me, like has the standardized stuff in
it's
it.
an AI game.
No, it reminds me of those what are those games? Oh, I just had it in my head. Not the Saints Row games, and not the Far Cry games. The oh, what is it? Just Cause. The Just Cause games. It reminds me of that.
That's actually a good shout. That's a good shout.
It reminds
It's
me of Just Cause. And
but yeah, that like it just yeah. I know
because
what
the
you mean.
explosions, just everything about it, like when I watch it, it just looks like a really polished Just Cause with
Yeah.
Lincoln Clay.
Fuzzy Tomato in the chat says, you guys are acting like South of Midnight got a 5. It's a solid game. I'm more in line with what you're saying than Gaz is. Like I think it's good. I'm glad I played it. It's just not anywhere near great or really good.
It'll
But
be
our
forgotten
concern
by-
is not what we think it is or what we score. Our concern is that does not translate into lots of people playing the game and for it to make its return on investment. And it absolutely won't. That's my prediction.
You know,
And
I
it was not going to draw or hold Game Pass subscribers either.
So I just looked at the trailer right now for Mind's Eye again, and I hit it on the head. It reminds me of a well-polished Just Cause game.
yeah.
Everything about it.
Yeah,
It reminds me of that Rock A City game that had incredible production values and graphics and all these these B-list celebrities. And then it came out and it was like a 64 on Metacritic and no one bought it.
Well, next time you
And
watch
I never
that
got
trailer,
around to picking it up or trying it.
watch that trailer again and think Just Cause, and you'll see it, bro.
Well, it looks like
Spot
Rico
on.
Rodriguez, but it's
No.
Lincoln Clay
Even
from
the
Mafia 3.
environments, the way there's all this stuff exploding. It's so Just Cause.
It was a beautiful looking game though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think it's like a 12-hour game or 20-hour game or something.
Thank God for that. I need a shorter game.
Thank God for that. We do need more shorter games. We do. We do.
Yeah.
Some of these games are just bloated all to hell. All right. Well, you know what, guys? I need to get out of here. It's coming upon the 2-hour mark anyway, and I need to get out. I need to. I'm gonna die if I stay here any longer.
Fonz is such a happy podcaster sometimes. You know what, guys? I need to get the F out of here.
Yeah.
You guys are on your own.
No, I got stuff to do. You know, I got
just leave the feed on and we'll sit here and talk.
Bro,
we'll get you canceled.
I've got to mow my couch. I've got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah. Magnum, Magnum, knock it off. Took 6 years to make a shiz game. Well, I don't know.
I think everything I've heard from the way it looks to the story, I heard it's really good in that aspect. It's just the gameplay I hear from several people that told me that it's just okay.
I'm just bugged that like Matt Booty wasn't at Compulsion going, okay, you guys have a cool gameplay loop, but that's it. You're going to just repeat that over and over. That's not good enough. And there's platforms that like we have a standard of seal of approval quality that like it has to, you know, have a certain evolutions as expected, and they didn't reach that. So.
Oh my God. I love
Open Critic, but this is for Magnum.
Yeah.
Don't ever talk about Xbox games. You can just go play your stupid PlayStation games.
Let me say something that's I think is great on the contrast of that I am seeing this so much this past year or two that a 78, 82 is a mid game. It's mid. People are like avoid it at all costs. It's not good. It sucks. It's gonna fail. And I think it's funny that I don't know if it's a compliment or what, Gaz, that people now think that a 78 to an 82 out of 100 on Metacritic, which is literally a B- at school, I think, is now considered don't touch it. It'll never sell. Nobody cares. It's avoided at all costs. I think maybe that games are so good now that the bar's raised that it's not an 87 or higher. Don't even look at it. And that's how people act.
To counter that, if you've got an abundance of games that have been reviewed critically in a busy year, why would you relegate yourself to mid?
Unless it's a genre you want or something, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
if you had to pick between Split Fiction and this, which one would you pick?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The problem is Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo average out at around 81 out of 100 across all of their first-party games. So if the bottom end of what you consider mid is now avoidable, you're gonna have to be real picky about what you play. And when games are $70 to $80, maybe you should be picky.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Thank God for Game Pass.
Yeah.
Fuzzy says we should ignore numbers altogether. Yeah, I mean, you can't rely on them singly.
Well, the thing is,
by themselves,
like, 75 is literally mid. It's a C.
It is okay. Yeah. So 78 is probably a C plus.
Yeah, C plus.
I never got those kind of grades in school, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. So
actually, some guy on Twitter called me a high school dropout today because I claimed that Nintendo games were $90. Hey, until I find out what Nintendo actually said.
Even until today, I'm seeing articles written today.
I'm still
seeing $90 physical games. So I don't, and I've looked on Nintendo's website. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
But again, people spread misinformation all the time. You know all about that, Colt. You misinformation spreader. Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, anyways, we're going to get out of here. Gaz, thank you for joining us today. I know you had your show. I joined you for a little while as well. So thank you for joining mine. I'm sorry that I had to leave you with King Thrash.
That was an interesting.
Oh, for fudge sakes.
But anyway, he actually made a couple of decent points, I will say.
He's good. I love him. Like, yeah, he's good.
You love him.
Anyways, Gaz, let everybody know where they can find you, even though everybody here knows who you are and where they can find you. But do it again. Say it again.
I'll sacrifice my life for Pakistan. Great.
I would too.
Septic sauce, right here, and on Twitter or X.
Yeah.
Sorry, X.
And on Nintendo Online is where you'll
And
find
Nintendo
Gaz.
Online, where he'll be playing with a barefoot protagonist.
Yep.
Colt, where can they find you, my friend? Besides in Grump's
Find me on
posts?
Grinder,
Oh,
which is
Jesus.
normally where I am. But you can find me at Colt Eastwood on Twitter and Colt Eastwood on YouTube, where I make a couple videos a week and I do a podcast. And thank you for having me on, Fonz. We're gonna
Of
play
course,
Borderlands
man.
tonight.
Yes,
I'm excited. It's gonna be chill and laid back,
Yep.
and it'll be good.
Yep, definitely. Boba Fett is dead after you said that, by the way. And so am I. I died a little bit inside when you said you were on Grinder. Jesus.
You added me there first, you freaking fraud.
I don't know anything about Grinder.
That's how he gets his
Footboy
name
Fonz
from.
37 is what his username is.
that boy Fonz 37.
Footboy.
Oh,
Footboy.
Oh, no. I'm not part of that Foot clan. That's
Footlicker
Alex's
Fonz
thing.
69.
Party like a Diddy party, so yeah, that's what's up.
Damn. Hey. That voice sounds familiar. Who was that?
No party like a Diddy party.
That is LeBron James.
LeBron. That's it.
Yep.
Hargeet,
Yeah.
of course, everybody knows you. You're here every week. Where can they find you, your book, and all that good stuff?
Not where Colt and you are, but I will not be.
I
on
am
that.
not there.
Any other social media?
He's on the Asian
Already
version.
made your profile.
He's on the Asian
Right.
version.
Asiansonly.com.
He's on the Indian grinder.
Indian grinder.
All right. Anyway, you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Hargy1. If you want, you can check out my book, shop.china.us.
The only way to sign up is to give them an Apple gift card.
I'm actually reading a book next now.
What was that? You're reading my book?
I'm just about to read your book next.
Yeah, nice. I hope you like it. Anyways, I'll be on with Web Dave tomorrow at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. Check that out on Web Dave's channel. And I'll be on next week with Double Barrel Gaming on Wednesday, the day we're supposed to have pre-orders. So 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. We will see what the heck's happening. I'm sure there'll be some news by then, whether we have pre-orders or not.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. But yeah, so check that out on Double Barrel Gaming. We'll see what's going on there.
All right. Well, with that said, I'll be out getting some Google Play gift cards to give to both Gaz and Hargeet for their services. Anyways, until next time, game on, everybody.